This is Delhi. Please stand by for our next program. This is All India Radio. Welcome tomorrow. All India Radio in collaboration with Vigyan Prasar presents the science serial Welcome Tomorrow, based on myriad facets of artificial intelligence. Time now to listen to the 26th episode. In this episode, we present a discussion on the series and salient aspects of artificial intelligence. The participants are Dr. Nakul Parashar, Director Vigyan Prasar, Dr. Birendra Kumar Tyagi, Senior Scientist Vigyan Prasar, and Dr. Rintu Nath, Scientist F. Vigyan Prasar. Kaushik Roy is moderating the discussion.
Namaskar listeners, welcome to another interesting episode of Welcome Tomorrow. In the studios of All India Radio Delhi, today we have a very distinguished panel and we are going to talk on the different and myriad facets of artificial intelligence, which is better known as AI. In the studios today, we are joined by Dr. Nakul Parashar, Director Vigyan Prasar, Dr. Birendra Tyagi, Senior Scientist Vigyan Prasar, and Dr. Rintu Nath, Scientist F. Vigyan Prasar. Well, this is a very important and a huge subject which we are hearing about for a long time now, and also in the past episodes our listeners have also been giving a lot of weightage to this program, and they have been interacting with you, especially Dr. Parashar, Dr. Tyagi and Dr. Nath. And also from the top echelons of our government, we have been seeing a greater push towards science and supercomputing, AI, etc. These are what we call the final frontiers of time of science, which has come during these times. To start off, what is the issue related to coding? Because every day we are now hearing a lot of things about coding, and what role does it play in artificial intelligence?
For this, I think I'll request Dr. Parashar and Dr. Nath.
Yeah, it's an open forum. Anyone
so we
can
start
join
with
in.
Dr.
Parashar, yes, please.
Well, an interesting question. We've been talking on our previous episodes about what artificial intelligence is and how important it is. A matter of fact, anything that we try to work in artificial intelligence is related to computers, to machines, and to tell machines in order to help them understand a sequence of thoughts, processes, how an action has to be completed is called algorithm. A rational behind it, a rational approach, a rationalistic approach, a stepwise approach to achieve what we desire. In order to do so, to make computers understand, there are certain different, what we call as languages that have come forth, and we've been talking about right from day's inception, BASIC, COBOL, Fortran, so on and so forth. And over a period of time, these have changed. A lot of things have come in. We talk about RDBMS, we talk of structured language queries and all that stuff. And in this whole process, for anything that you convert your thoughts or processes to accomplish a activity is for a machine is called coding. So and for that matter, as I said, these languages are means and methods to accomplish those thoughts, those algorithms into action.
Right. So when we are talking about coding, as both of you mentioned, that it is about writing particular things for the tasks to be performed, is what coding is, and that is if someone is very much interested in that, a student, from a student's perspective, they should go about that. Dr. Tyagi, would you like to add something to it, please?
No, I was just wondering whether when you say it's more of a coding is a logical framework of a problem to be solved, and you're writing, identifying a problem, and then how you are going to solve it step by step. And
See,
then
I'm giving you an example.
Yeah.
See, only writing coding would be like, if you ask whether a given year is a leap year or not, if a student doesn't know how to actually check
Right.
the leap year conditions or not. So those conditions are required. Coding will come much later.
Okay.
But at very early stage, especially if somebody is at class 6, 7 standard, if they are exposed to this coding, so-called coding now it is coming, there is a, they will do the mistake of thinking the computer science or whole lot of, things which has been talked about, artificial intelligence, machine learning, everything, is all about coding, which they do not know for what they are doing.
Right.
So overall perspective, a bird eye view is to be given. That is required. A strong mathematical base, strong analytical ability, that has to be grown rather than putting a class 6 kid for a coding.
Coding class.
So that means first is like a certain level of maturity in terms of understanding the problem
Yes.
and your perception to solve that problem.
Right.
Then after that only the coding will come.
Absolutely.
Okay. I think there is a one related question where when we talk about this coding, there is another term which is used very frequently. Cloud computing. Is there any relationship between two of them, or they are totally apart? Or
There is nothing like absolute relationship. There is nothing like discrete.
Okay.
So cloud computing is basically a service providing.
Okay.
And once it is a service providing, how do you deal with cloud computing? Are you a provider, service provider? Are you a person who is a technical person who is having the data, heading the data center? So the person who is having, maintaining the data center, he has to have a coding background. The person who will be using the cloud service, he may be a manager. The person from the manager, the person who will be interacting with the data center has to be again a computer scientist. So these are all interlinked. So we cannot say it's a disjoint set or is a
So means
essential
like
requirement.
it depend on
At which level you are.
But sir, Dr. Parishar, I would just curious to know, when we talk about this cloud computing, Rentu is saying it's a service. What kind of service it is, and what are who are the customer for that service?
See, in earlier days, we had machines, we had computers that were evolving. Their computing power was little. The storages that we required were minimal. As we moved along, as our application areas grew, as more and more, as the necessity to have more and more programming and capabilities of computing enhanced, as the data size increased, right? So did the necessity to have all of this, grow up higher and higher. In order to do so, we all see that machine sizes in terms of computing powers have increased enormously over a period of time. However, what has happened is, at a certain level, there was a need to have the computing, grow much bigger, much higher than ever it was. As a result, the so-called physical storage space that we had at the back of our minds was no longer valid, right? So the first thing that came in was that the physical storage of data that we used to have in our disks and hard disks and all that stuff gradually got moved to, as soon as internet came into in its actual form of existence, where it was exploited to the maximum. That is where clouds came up. That's where something in the third space we started storing all these pieces of information. So that was the first application. But then later we realized that just storage is not going to help, right? It's most important, as Dr. Rentonath rightly said, there needed to be this space also needed to have the possibility of processing data as well. So that enhanced capability of the so-called HPC, or the high power computing that we talk about, right? That got enhanced to an extent that all that data that we talk about in a storage, which is since it is in a place, it's in the internet. That is how the concept of cloud came in, and this is what is called cloud computing. And what he rightly said, it's just a basic service. It's something that is an enhancement of all these activities that we have put together. So now back to how cloud computing, distributed computing, coding and all that stuff is related to our current series of programs is so related and so intermingled in it, as Dr. Rentonath rightly said. It's not discrete. They are wedded to each other, and this is why, because as we talk about, we've all heard about big big data in the past few days. We've been talking about Hadoop and all these things. So all of this is a culmination, of how the processes can be made much more easier, faster, and that could help improve our processes. Now, we just heard Dr. Rintu Nath while we were discussing offline. We're talking about that we all know artificial intelligence is to enhance the performance power of our computers in such a way that certain decisions that we have been doing on a regular basis need to be improved, have to be taken to a different level. We've been talking about Industry 4.0, right? So Industry 5.0 is knocking the door now, which means that supercomputing, super ability to execute a lot of those actions that we used to perceive as part of fiction have now gotten into reality. Way back 30 years way back, when I was studying, for me what is today was something absolutely called fiction, like what he spoke about 4G, 5G and all that stuff. So these are all examples of the rapid movement of transformation that is happening. And in this course, I guess artificial intelligence, which we talk about, which I'm sure would come up, is something like what we call from one stage to another. So from one to comparison to superlative, and then beyond superlative as well. So that's all we are heading towards. I guess it's an interesting and a very exciting area where everything is so rapidly changing. I would say even with a wink of an eye, there's a new set of code that evolves and that gets that gets formalized in such a way that we start calling it as a language.
So that means, like, such a fast changing area. Every day there are development. So the students or the children who are aspiring to be choosing their career into AI, so how they should prepare themselves for the aane wala kal, or if we say the days to come.
Right, and I would go back to what Dr. Rintu Nath rightly said. I think for anybody wanting to get into artificial intelligence, should choose his or her area of application. So, for example, if I'm a lawyer, I'm a practicing lawyer, I would try to look for application where I can bring in artificial intelligence to improve my process of my domain. So as I said, if I'm a lawyer, I would probably not depend on those large volumes of books kept at the back of my shelf, where I used to open up every book, find for those cases before I go to fight a case. At the press of a button, all these litigation cases, authorities, the database would immediately search for it. So this huge big data which is available, say for example in India, where we have millions of cases from 1950 till now, if I were to find a case relevant to the one that I'm going to fight, artificial intelligence application would help me identify and find that case that would be relevant in preparing that case.
So right. Gentlemen, here also I'd like to ask you an important facet that the Honorable Prime Minister always says, that using AI, artificial intelligence, for the common man, that is for the farmer or for startups. These startups are the new game changer that has emerged, and we have many unicorns in this country. So would you kindly respond to that? It's an open field.
It's like artificial intelligence, you can be user or you can be a driver. So you need to see at which side you are. So being a farmer, you would like to be a user of artificial intelligence. Right. If you're using a high-tech mobile phone, you need not know how the mobile phone works, how the applications work. You need to use it. You need to choose whether it's useful or not. So artificial intelligence and machine learning has to be seen with that perspective. It is useful to all. I need to see what is my application domain, what are the areas which need artificial intelligence assistance, and how to implement it. There are people who are the developer side, who will be making applications, changes, customization of artificial intelligence programs for your own requirement.
Right.
So that means, like, I should not deviate from my basic subject which I am studying at that time. Once I acquired my knowledge in that area, my degree, then then I should explore the possibility how I can use AI to improve whether I am a service provider or I am a user, or even if I am in some profession, how this AI can help as the
Very well
example.
said. Very well said. And I think
So there is no need like to prepare, specially for going into the field of AI initially. It is to first the mastering your own subject and then looking the scope of AI into that field.
no, that is why, any field that we talk about, artificial intelligence, you would say, if you draw a diagram, it would be in the center, and you would find its application and its relation to almost every walk of life.
Yeah.
But artificial intelligence actually moves with users plus developers. So users would be domain experts, developers would be IT experts. So IT experts or people with a lot of mathematics at the back of it, because there's huge data that needs to be computed, that needs to be worked upon. And for that matter, users are domain experts who will help tell the developer that this is what is my need and this is what I think is a process. So the algorithm sort of thing would come from a user or a domain expert, and the coder or the machine expert would do that same thing, and with the help of these two, right, जिसे कहते हैं हिंदी में 1 and 1 11, this would happen.
Okay. Dr. Nath, you have done your PhD in distributive computing, I think.
Right.
Huh? So can you tell us what is that? Because this is the term I'm listening for the first time.
See, distributed computing is the most generic of computation. So earlier days computation used to be like single machine, okay, single machine multi-core. And then at best it was like homogeneous system, which we used to call it supercomputer. But of late that whole concept vanished. There is no concept of now supercomputer. There is no concept of single very multitasking machine. There has to be a distributed system. It's called NOW and COW, network of workstation, cluster of workstation. So when you see that entire development of major search engines and other IT companies, everything in the last decade, it came from the tremendous computation power and the locality of data. And co-location facility. So the locality of data mean you have data in a distributed system. Wherever computation is, data is. So that you use that time, communication time also in a computation time. So that increases the efficiency. This whole of this is called distributed computing. And the distributed computing is the driving force of cloud computing, grid computing. When you talk about IoT, and then if you talk about that sensor based network, everything is basically the most generic is distributed computing.
Okay. So that means you use word here the supercomputer, and there is no such supercomputer now.
Right.
Why? That means like the capacity which this supercomputer
See, the
used to
name
have.
supercomputer still exists,
Okay.
but the format, the way supercomputer used to be, it was used to be earlier all homogeneous system. Now
Can you elaborate more on that?
Homogeneous means similar type. So if you have a earlier day supercomputers, all systems, all peripherals, everything has to be one single standard. So it is like a customized version.
Okay.
Now it's all about HPCs. Even the supercomputer, the biggest power, top 100 supercomputers, if you see, these are all heterogeneous computers. Heterogeneous computers mean off the shelf. Off the shelf, any machines you put it in the rack, it still works. It entire system works as a single homogeneous system despite having no homogeneity at all.
Okay.
This is what is called HPC.
Okay.
So high performance computers are actually called supercomputers now. How many heterogeneous systems you have, that depends the power.
So there is one more question which came from one of our listener. He is Durgesh Naganpure from Khandwa, Madhya Pradesh. He is saying like I'm interested in doing research in AI. Okay, so then in doing research in AI, what language is being used at present?
First of all, his question that he wants to do research in artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
He'll have to be very clear about which area that he would want to choose, because
Okay.
artificial intelligence, as I said, touches each and every part of your life,
Yeah.
every day, every moment. So the domain spectrum
Yes.
is so vast that he'll have to choose either of these domains and then try to work in it.
Let's take an example.
So, for example,
Agriculture.
For example, agriculture,
Okay.
or for that matter,
Yeah.
if he wants to say, for example, he won't want to work in Dr. Nath's area of distributed computing, he'll have to be very clear about it. But let's all understand the fundamental and basics of any computing or computers or whatever machine that we're talking about, artificial intelligence, is mathematics.
Okay.
It's again back to 0, 1. It's all again back to all that where we all started from. So unless and until your understanding and your clarity about mathematics if is not very strong and very clear, then it becomes very difficult for you to realize and work in the area of so-called data science, which is the basis of artificial intelligence. From the language standpoint, there are enormous number of different coding languages that have emerged over a period of time, and they are very domain specific as well. So if you want to do something into database management systems, any structured query language could help and work in that area. But for that matter, as far as artificial intelligence is concerned, the so-called languages that are in the vogue today are either Python, R, and there are a number of such languages. All your basic object-oriented programming languages play an important role, and for that matter, it could be as basic as C or C++, right?
So I think Durgesh, you possibly, I think you will satisfy with the answer which, you have got the answer for your question. But I think again there is one more question which I think both of you have said, like, mathematics is important for doing the coding. So what level of that understanding of mathematics is required if we go by a routine standard of school level or college level, or something beyond much more than that?
So it's basically this algorithm. Any problem solving has to be understood by a flow chart, which is can be written as an algorithm. So algorithm is sequence of instructions written for the machines. Now that can be learned, and it's very difficult to actually specify what level of mathematics, if you are actually talking about the school level or graduate or postgraduate level. It's not this way. When we say it's a mathematical background, it's more on a understanding the perspective. The whole mathematics, it's not really required that you need to know integration or differential calculus to do the programming. It's not. It's more on your logical ability to do to understand the algorithm and write coding for that. For that, mathematics would be required. So unless you have a strong mathematical background, it will be difficult to comprehend the situation, write algorithm and write code.
No, my question is again very basic. Suppose I have that logical ability, but may not be a formal training in mathematics, like
That's fine.
calculus, integration, or
Our perception about having the basic understanding of mathematics is that you should be able to compute, you could be able to understand, you can play with the numbers, and then what you do is you'll need somebody to convert your thoughts into coding.
Okay.
But if you want to do research into it, if you want to get deeper into it, and you're a domain expert and you want your domain problems to be solved, and you want to do it yourself as a researcher, in that case, it will be imperative for you to have some basic understanding of mathematics and statistics, for that matter, so that you are able to create those statistical rules. Don't get confused and don't get petrified with the word mathematics and statistics. So either you are a coder who can do things extremely well, or otherwise you'll have to gain that additional understanding and knowledge to convert your thoughts into it. And that is where these deadly combinations today are very much in
Very sought after.
very sought after, very much in need. And maybe if you have another question talking about the career opportunities, I think this answers your question.
Okay.
So career opportunities are humongous. It's absolutely the whole world is opening up to new numbers of job opportunities. We all know when computers came back in 1995, we were all very weary about that people are going to lose their jobs, but then all these 25 years, 30 years that we have seen, there's a big jump into numbers. Opportunities have come in a big way, and so would artificial intelligence unleash a number of positions that you and I would not even imagine of, because for every improvement there will be a set of people required to do it. And let me tell you very frankly, a very personal example. We all know that gaining from 0 to 90 is easy, but from 90 to 91 becomes tougher, and 91 to 92 becomes tougher. And as it becomes tougher, opportunities to improve them will increase in numbers. And that is where we are getting to. Artificial intelligence, for that matter, over a period of time, has achieved a position where we all know has come to a point where it is moved from where it was in basic stage to a comparative stage. And
Right.
and we are moving to
Right.
much better.
So now there is also talk in the various media about super AI. So could you please elaborate on that?
Super AI is again a kind of a buzzword, and it is again not really understood. It's a generic process. When we talk about automation, so 20 years back, industrial automation was only a repetitive task or the task which needed more muscle power. So you replace that. So human being need not do that. Let machines do it. And then it from automation with intelligence. So this the machines which can even think. Think means it's based on the previous past data and the data which is receiving now as a feedback.
Right.
It takes a decision and then it takes a call. So this is machines with intelligence. Now, what is going to be the next step? Because
Yes.
now the things are improving. Things are improving. The data, more data availability, the processing power improving, and the knowledge base is also increasing. And that's how the next stage is going to be, is a machine with more intelligence. So it's something like, people are talking about even the consciousness, machine consciousness.
Yes.
But there's again artificial consciousness.
Dr. Parashar,
Right.
would you like to add anything,
No,
please?
interesting, and I 100% concur with what Dr. Nath said. Terms in the area of artificial intelligence, are very hard to comprehend at the moment, very hard to be spoken about, very hard to predict about, because the speed with which developments are happening is just mind-boggling. And we, for that matter, no matter what, we've seen fiction, we've read a lot of movies, and I'm sure in the coming episodes of Aane Wala Kal and
yes,
this,
yes, yes,
we'll
yes.
have all these,
Yes,
and we'll
yes.
also go back to
Yes,
areas where
yes,
this
yes,
has been talked about.
Yeah.
But the reality is, the creator always has an upper hand. No matter fiction has been talking about that the robot that was created by the scientist had that capability to destroy the creator itself.
Yes.
But unless we ourselves, are bound to create a hierarchy, will always remain above and ahead of the computers and the computing. So super or superest or even superest of superest would come. I think that time will tell. But with the speed with which things are happening, I think that day is not very far when we'll have most of our applications that we think are difficult today become duly automated.
Right.
And the entire process which we call as RPA, robotic process automation, would then become a way of life, not a moment of triumph.
Yeah. But at the same time, there needs to be intertwining of the human intelligence as well as artificial intelligence to take things forward. And we thank you all for joining us in this episode of our science serial Welcome Tomorrow. From the bottom of my heart, Dr. Nakul Parashar, Director Vigyan Prasar, thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Birendra Tyagi, Senior Scientist Vigyan Prasar, and Dr. Rintu Nath, Senior Scientist F at Vigyan Prasar. Thank you so very much for
Thank
joining
you.
us in this very lively and very informative discussion. Thank you indeed.
Thank you. Pleasure
Thank
talking
you.
to you.
Namaskar.
Namaste.
Namaskar.
Welcome tomorrow. You were listening to the 26th episode of the science serial produced by All India Radio in collaboration with Vigyan Prasar. In this episode, you heard a discussion on the series and salient aspects of artificial intelligence. The participants were Dr. Nakul Parashar, Director Vigyan Prasar, Dr. Birendra Kumar Tyagi, Senior Scientist Vigyan Prasar, and Dr. Rintu Nath, Scientist F Vigyan Prasar. Kaushik Roy was moderating the discussion. Do share your feedback on the program. You can mail your opinion by simple post to this address. Science Serial Welcome Tomorrow, Vigyan Prasar, A50 Institutional Area, Sector 62, Noida, pin code 201309. You can also write to us on our email ID radio@vigyanprasar.gov.in. Do write your full name and address. We will be back again with our next episode of the Science Serial. Welcome tomorrow, same day, same time next week. Till then, goodbye. This broadcast came to you from All India Radio, Delhi.